Right now, we are keeping a close eye on the White House, where in less than an hour, President Trump set to hold a cabinet meeting. It comes as MS Now has learned new details of a framework for a possible peace deal between the U.S. and Iran. This as Iran's foreign ministry is accusing the U.S. of violating the ceasefire agreement and threatening retaliation after the U.S. launched so-called self-defense strikes on Iran on Monday. Further complicating talks, Israel is ratcheting up its attacks in Lebanon. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowing to increase attacks on Hezbollah as Lebanon's health ministry says 31 people were killed in yesterday's strikes alone. Let's bring in MS Now contributor Inzamam Rashid and Josh Letterman, fellow at Princeton University's Center for International Security Studies. And Inzamam, you just got some new reporting about this apparent new memorandum of understanding for a U.S.-Iran peace deal. Bring us up to speed.
Yeah, so Iranian state TV, Iranian state media have been reporting that there's this unofficial memorandum of understanding information that they've got, the initial details of this information. Two sources inside Tehran who are close with the negotiations have now confirmed the content of that initial MOU framework to me, which is a positive sign because it means that what Iranian state TV are reporting is clearly backed up now by Iranian officials who are close to the negotiations. Now, the two sources said to me that both sides are working towards agreeing on this latest framework to allow space for dialogue. Now, we haven't had this confirmed from the US. I just want to be clear about that. I think we'd be a lot more comfortable if US Central Command or someone in the White House was to confirm this, and I'm sure we'll be working to try and get that for you. But let me tell you what Iranian state media have been reporting and what the Iranian officials now have confirmed. They've said that the US military forces will withdraw from the vicinity of Iran. They've said that the US Navy will lift its blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, that Iran has committed to restoring the number of commercial transit ships through the Strait of Hormuz to pre-war levels within 1 month, 30 days. Iranian state media said that the military vessels are not included in this draft agreement. They've said that the management and routing of ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz will be handled by Iran in cooperation with Oman. They're the two countries that essentially border the Strait of Hormuz. And if a final deal is reached within 60 days, this agreement will be approved in the form of binding UN Security Council resolution. They also added that the Islamabad memorandum, that it's being named apparently, is not yet finalized and no step will be taken by Iran without tangible verification. So if this is suggesting that America is going to lift that blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, then this is positive news because it's something that Iran has been calling for ever since the beginning of that blockade, to try and actually get the negotiations kick-started. It would suggest that it's a move by the US towards some relaxation, and I think that gives us a positive outcome as a result. But as I mentioned, we would need this to be confirmed by the US to show that this is actually something that's happening. There's also a line in there about how the management and routing of ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz will be handled by Iran in cooperation with Oman. We know that Iran and Oman have been having many meetings over the last few weeks, and that will have been around how those two countries potentially manage that strategic waterway where 20% of the world's oil usually passes through. Remember, this wasn't an issue before the war started. It's only become an issue because Iran have had that strategic hold over the waterway. So that will be an interesting point to see how the waterway is managed in the future, Anna.
And so you mentioned we haven't got confirmation yet from the U.S. on this MOU, but we did get a response from the White House when asked about whether they could confirm, and they didn't deny that this was some kind of framework. In fact, here's the quote from the White House spokesperson. As President Trump has said, negotiations are proceeding nicely, and he has made his red lines clear. President Trump will only make a good deal for the American people, which must ensure that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon.